Hello, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope that you're all having a wonderful day today, and I hope that you are being kind to yourselves. Today we've got another speed build, and you know what? I was feeling really uninspired actually recently about my builds. Because obviously I will be the first to say I'm not the most talented builder. There are so many builders out there who create incredible, breathtaking things, and I'm not at that level. But I do enjoy building, and it's really hard to remember to just do it because you enjoy it. But yeah, recently I've been feeling a lot more inspired and a lot more like, no, I love doing this. I love what I do. So yeah, I've got loads of really fun, interesting builds planned for the future, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. So I hope that you guys enjoy these builds. I hope you enjoy hanging out with me. But today, I think this build is actually one of my more simple ones. Really, I mean, it's a small build, but I really, really love it. I think it's one of my favourite actually. I just think it's very real, and I like that. So I'm going to jump into the speed build and we'll have a little look at it. Now, I had actually really been wanting to build in this particular lot in Windenburg for the longest time. Like, I really, really wanted to build in this lot, and I didn't really have an image of what I wanted to create, but it's such a lovely lot just tucked away. It's basically the island part of Windenburg, right by the coast, and it's just such a beautiful location. So I started building here, and originally I had planned to do just a little seaside cottage with lots of landscaping and just all the stuff that I love. And I do that, I do. But I added like a little twist to it, and I kind of love it. I think it makes it a lot more real. Like I said before, I just think it seems like a really real property. And yeah, so right now I'm just creating this like base part of the like original cottage sort of part. And I do have a family in mind of who lives here. I feel like maybe this should be just like a series or something like that, where I just build for these imaginary people that don't exist. But I mean, if you're new to my channel, hello, I always do a little story time with my speed builds now. It's just become a thing. I don't know when it started, I don't know, it just did. But when I do my builds, I always have a very particular family in mind, and I share that story. I tell you guys that while we're watching the speed build. So welcome to story time. But yes, so this cottage, it started out, I didn't have anyone in mind when I started this. I just wanted to do this seaside cottage. So I started doing this cottage, and it wasn't until I added another part to the house that I came up with the story of who lived here and why there was this other part of the house and stuff. So that's when it came together. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. But yeah, I'm just trying to create the, like, make it look like it's been there a while, because I imagine it's been here maybe 100 years or something. And oh, I love that stone wall. I finally used it in a build. I never used it in a build before. I finally managed to use it. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, the family I had in mind for this was two young parents. So they're in like their mid-20s, and they have a little toddler, a little daughter, and they bought this house. Before they had the daughter, they bought this house as like their first home. And it was a really lovely place for them to live for a couple of years. And they have so many fond memories and stuff. Like, they got it pretty cheap because they did it up a little bit. But they just loved the location because they love being outside by the seaside and stuff. And they had planned for eventually in the future they would have a family. And then their little girl came along, and they realised they really didn't have space for them all to live there. So yeah, they had to renovate it while they were pregnant, and that's when you'll see in a little bit I pop a little extension on, and I really like the feel of it because you really feel the old and the new. But they did extend it so that you have enough space for them and their daughter, and now it's a really it's a compact home. It is a compact home, but there is enough space for all of them. Oh, I love that little washing line. I love a little washing line. Oh, it's so cute. I love that. I really love that. Anyway, yeah, it is quite a compact home, but I really like it because you'll see inside the like original house only has 3 rooms, and I feel like that's quite realistic because a lot of the time in these older properties, it was all just kind of one room you lived in. You had your kitchen, living, dining, bedroom all in the one space. You were kind of minted if you had a bedroom, to be honest, like a separate bedroom. But yeah, so you see that like it's a very compact space they have in the original house, and then the extension just adds like a little bit extra space for them to live in. And I really love the contrast. You'll see I do quite a modern extension. Oh, here it is. That was perfect timing. You'll see I did quite a modern extension, and I really wanted to do this wood, and I end up keeping it. But I really wasn't sure at first if it was just too drastic, too much of a change. But I do think that's quite realistic, that people have these stone cottages and then they have just this like really fancy, like dramatic black and wood sort of extension, and that is what I did. But I did think at first, I was like, is this too much? Is it? It might be too much, I don't know. But when I do all the landscaping and everything, it all ties it together, and actually it looks really nice. I think that they made a really big effort to not necessarily blend it in, but make it feel like it belonged. You'll see it doesn't just look like it's just this whole brand new thing just slapped down and it hasn't been touched since. Like the landscaping and just the activities and stuff they have, it all just blends it in nicely. So like, you can still see it's a modern part to the build, but it's tied in well. And I just love all this landscaping, I really do. It just gives me such cottage garden vibes. Just imagine like sitting out here by the seaside, you can hear the birds, you can hear the waves, you can hear like a child laughing and playing, you can hear water just splashing and stuff. Oh, I just love it. I love it so much. Like I was born in quite a big town, right? And I moved away from that town when I was 8, and we moved to the Highlands of Scotland, into the middle of nowhere, literally the middle of nowhere. I actually have a video on my channel of the house we moved into. I made a horror story video on it, so if you like horror, you might want to check that one out. It's a bit fun. I'll pop it in a little card for you guys. But yeah, I went and moved into that house. It was literally in the middle of nowhere, completely by itself. It was horrifying. But anyway, that was not the point of the story. But then we moved to the house I'm in now. So I've lived in the countryside for a long time. And I always say I'm a city girl. Like, I miss the city. Like, I have lived in the city for studying in between all these years. But I love the city so much. But then at the same time, when I look at builds like this, it would be absolute heaven to live in a place like this. Absolute heaven. Like, it reminds me of very much like an English country cottage sort of thing. It very much does give me English vibes. But I love that. That's like what I love about English pubs, is their beer gardens are just so gorgeous. Like, they're just the most relaxing place to go sit when it's nice and sunny and you have all these gorgeous flowers and stuff. Like the old pubs that have all the big ivy and stuff growing up them. It's absolute heaven. It is. But anyway, yeah, we're still working on the outside. It took me a while, a lot of landscaping. I did cut quite a bit out because I felt like it was a little bit repetitive. You know, I didn't want to bore you guys too much. Just a little bit, but not too much. But yeah, so then now we're moving on to doing a little skylight, because I do love a good skylight. I put skylights in a lot of them, but I felt like that makes sense. If I were having this house and I wanted this modern extension and I lived in such a gorgeous sunny place in that, I would probably get a skylight to let in some more light as well, because especially as the original part of the cottage has quite small windows, it's not nearly as bright, they'd want to make this space as bright as possible and have it really like a happy space. But you'll see here is where I'm trying to tie in, kind of blend in the modern extension a little bit with just random plant pots and different stuff like that. I really like that little seating area. They've just got random potted plants and everything hanging about them, and it's quite nice. But yeah, I also put lots of activities and stuff outside. They don't have a very big garden, but I kind of thought like that's alright, because look at all the land they have around them. I know like technically in The Sims it's not great, but realistically I think that seems really nice to have all that grass and that forest around you, and you just have this one little nice area that's private. But I love having this little picnic bench here, and having that hedge archway is so cute out to like the sea. I just really love it. It makes me smile. It really does. I think I could really imagine this being like the place where they have like all their neighbours come around, they just have barbecues and stuff and they all hang out here. This is just like the neighbourhood spot, you know? And having those fairy lights along the back there from kids' room stuff, I use them. I use them on all my builds. They're just stunning. They are absolutely stunning. If you haven't got, wait, what is it? Toddler stuff. If you haven't got toddler stuff, the sole reason you have to get it is for those lights, because you will not regret it. You will not. They are just perfect. Oh, we're in the interiors now. Okay. So here we are working on the original part of the house, and this bedroom is a pretty good size, to be honest, but I mean the whole original part of the house does feel just a little bit cramped, but like if you really look at it, it's quite nice space. But what I decided with this house was that they are they're not, messy is not the word I want to go with, they just like stuff. They have a lot of stuff and they don't have many places to keep it. So what I played with in my head with this storyline was, like I said, they moved into this house as their first home before they had a child in mind, and they lived here and they kind of like renovated the original, like they moved in when it was just complete state. It was really old, really falling apart and stuff, and they renovated that. And then a few years later they found out they were pregnant and they were like, we need to get an extension. So then they put all their focus into getting this really modern extension, and then in between all that time the rest of the house kind of was forgotten about, a bit ignored. It's not run down, but it could do with a little bit of love. And also I think practically they don't have much storage space or anything like that, so it does feel a little bit cluttered. So what I played with in my mind was, if I were to play with this family, right? I mean, I'm not gonna, but if I were to, I would then be saving up some money so that they could gradually modernize the rest of this, like the traditional part of the house, and just give them more like storage space and just more, I don't know, to kind of tie it in a little bit with the extension. But you will see I do put quite a bit of clutter just everywhere in the house. I do feel like they're just clutter bugs. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just who these people are. So yeah, I do play around with that a lot, and I'm loving cluttering things right now. I actually am. I did go like really like OTT with the clutter in this room in particular. There's a lot of clutter, but I think that's quite nice. I could imagine them living in lots of clutter because I mean I just think I don't know, it gives them a very unpolished sort of feel, and I think that's what I was going for. Like, this house is just your average family home. It's imperfect, but like that's perfect in itself. You know what I mean? I said this in one of my other videos. I think it was my second last speed build that I did, where I tried to create just a normal family home again. That's what I'm kind of trying to do here, because I think it's really fun. It's really refreshing to not create these perfect homes, these perfect family homes, or these like really neat, really like well proportioned, really laid out well like homes. I just think it's really nice to create something that you could genuinely find in real life, and I do think you could really find this house in real life. And that's something I really liked with this modern extension. Like, I wasn't sure about it because it didn't look perfect, and things that don't look perfect just don't work in The Sims, because The Sims 4 especially really pushes you to create things that look and feel perfect, otherwise they just don't look right. And in reality, like real life, like things are not perfect. Like, they're just not. And I think it was really refreshing. It was a challenge, but it was really refreshing to make something deliberately that didn't look perfect, because I know myself, I am super guilty of making homes and everything that just look perfect in The Sims, because otherwise it just looks weird. The game just makes it look weird when it doesn't in reality look weird. So I had fun is what I'm trying to say. But you see, I put loads of clutter, and I played around with colours and stuff as well. I wanted it to be a really nice, colourful, happy, chill space. So that's what we've got here. I wanted it to feel very youthful. Like, I know they're parents, but I think they're still quite young parents, and they're very much the carefree, sort of fun-loving people. Even though they're parents, like, their parents don't have to be serious. And I think very much that these two really love just having fun, having a laugh, being free, just raising their daughter with those sort of beliefs as well. So yeah, I did enjoy that. And then this hallway, I just kind of skipped over the fact I did the floor plan already. I did the floor plan, in case you haven't guessed. So you have the entrance hallway here. You can see the room that's on the right hand side at the top. That is the daughter's bedroom. Then you've got the bathroom, and then on the left is the parents' bedroom. And I was thinking about this for the original floor plan. I imagined originally that, I mean, maybe it would have been more open plan, but the room that's the parents' bedroom, I imagined that being like the kitchen living space in the original house, and then the kids' bedroom was maybe the only bedroom, and then they had the bathroom, which is it's quite a big bathroom though. It is, so maybe they did something there. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe there was another room there. I was just trying to think about it, like the process from it being the original cottage to how they renovated it. So I was just being creative, okay? Just being creative. Anyway, yeah, and then yeah, just have the one big open plan kitchen living space at the back that you'll see. But yeah, here I'm just creating a little bit of clutter, but popping a few bits and bobs around, but it is the hallway, so I didn't want to like bombard it with stuff. I wanted to also plan ahead and think about how they treated their kitchen living space, because I wanted it to be like that's their pride of the home. Like they have guests come, and maybe the guests come in the back way because they've got that big hedge archway bit. Maybe they just come in there and come straight into the living space, because the rest of the house is kind of like I don't know if other people like this. I've never lived in a house like this, but a lot of my friends, they're like back door they treated as their front door. So they'd have like a back door that was at the side of the house and the front door was obviously at the front, but the front door just always stayed locked and they would always go in the side door. That seems to be a really common thing with people. They would always do that, and I kind of imagined this family doing that. Now I've never done, have I ever lived in a house that's had a side door though? I have. That house I just mentioned earlier, that horror house. That had just a side door, but I mean I've always used the front one. Yeah. But that's what I imagined, that the front door they didn't really use that much, so like it's kind of like covered a little bit with stuff, and they just kind of used the side door. Again, I thought that was just really quite realistic, so I liked it. And then here's the little girls' room. I love this room. It just makes me smile. There's so many colours. It's just so happy. I am obsessed with the kids' room furniture from the kids' room stuff pack. I just think it's so gorgeous. These storage bits, the big bookcases with the little basket drawers and stuff. They're just so perfect for a kid's room. Like they really, really hit the nail on the head with that pack, I think. I mean, I do think there could have been more, but like some of the items in that are gorgeous. And then I'm just adding like piles of clutter and stuff like that. I love that little bear. I actually ended up putting that on the bed in one of my Christmas builds, and it was the first time I ever thought to put a toy on the bed. Like I think a lot of people do that anyway. I'm not special, but that was the first time I thought to do that, and I really loved it, so I did it again. And then this is the bleeding massive bathroom. It's massive. Yeah, so like I said, they renovated it like maybe 6-7 years ago. It's very specific, I know. They renovated it a little while ago, so it's reasonably new, but it's not like super swanky modern. But I really, literally, am I ever gonna get through a video without stumbling over my words? I don't think I am. I don't think so. I feel like I literally say this exact same sentence in every single one of my videos, and I apologise a lot. But yeah, here we're just adding like little bits of clutter. I just shoved that little plant in the corner. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to have like a nice decorative plant sitting there, but then like realistically they needed that space for storage, so it just kind of got shoved to the back. And oh, I like what I do here with the toilets. First time I've done it, I put loads of potted plants like on the back, and I think it looks really cute. I love it. I think that's quite a common thing, right? For people to have plants on the back of their toilets? I don't know. But I liked it. It was cute. Also, can you tell they quite like plants? I've made sure to bring kind of, because they have this whole like cottage garden on the outside, I kind of wanted to have lots of plants and stuff going on in the inside, so it wasn't like polar opposites. You know, you can see the connection. Oh my gosh, right here. I cut out so much here. Okay, rant time. Recently, like a good few weeks ago, but recently I ran into a problem with counters, and I think it's quite a common problem now, where you'll place a counter down and it just instantly vanishes, right? And you can keep placing it and it just keeps vanishing. It's like you haven't placed anything, but you can press the undo button and you know you're getting it back if you've got money, and apparently it's just going straight into the household inventory. I don't know what it is. There's some sort of glitch. I was looking it up. I spent like an hour when I was doing it trying to figure out. There's a whole thing on Reddit about it. I don't know. There's some sort of glitch apparently. And I ran into that problem here, and I couldn't place that corner counter for so long. It's so long. I actually was getting ready to bulldoze the build and rebuild it because I thought there was just something glitching with the build. So that was a fun time. I was getting really annoyed. I was getting so annoyed. But we managed. I don't know. I footed around with it a lot. I put move objects on, off, delete a wall, placed it again. A lot of stuff, and then eventually it was just fine. So, word of warning though, if you do use this build and you like footer with the counters a little bit, one could disappear. And that's not my fault, okay? But yeah, I was really nervous to move the counter away there to place stuff in the corner, because I was like, what if I place it back and it disappears? No. But it was okay. It was all good, so we're fine. So you'll see here I created this little kitchen area, and I did this breakfast counter area, and it's technically only 1.5 tiles wide because I like smooshed them together. But I really like having the waterfall counter and like the actual overhang counter on both sides, because I think that's quite realistic with breakfast counters. But I don't like how they look when they're 2 tiles wide. I just think they look too chunky compared to the rest of the kitchen. So I tend to just them together a little bit, but it means you can't really put a sink on the breakfast counter area because the other counter from the other side cuts into the sink, which isn't the best. I like having sinks on the counter, but for this kitchen I think it worked fine because I like the sink where it is now. And then here we've just got this really like small little living space. I love having this fireplace. I thought that fitted in really nicely with the theme of the place, the style of the place. Yeah, so it's just a nice little small snug family area. I could just imagine them all hanging out in this space all together. Like I said, it's not a huge home. It's a really compact little home, but I think that they are living on a budget. I tend to do builds that are for like just Sims that are minied. But like it's really nice to think realistically they saved up a lot of money to do this extension, and they couldn't afford anything like major. They could just afford enough to extend it to make it just a nice little living space, and I like that. So yeah, it's a really, really simple little living space. Just make sure to clutter up a little bit, make it look like this is where the family hangs out. But here we are just adding the last few little details, and we're going to jump into the screenshots in just a second. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really, really, really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are. If you want to download this build, my ID is RibbityYT, so you can do that on the gallery. But I will speak to you all very, very soon. Bye!